Hi guys, welcome back to our channel again. In this video, we will see how we can use the CSS selector, the advanced locators technique using some class attribute. So we know the general syntax is like tag that, and after that is square bracket, and inside the square bracket we have to put the attribute and then value like this way. And we know how to replace how to create a shortcut of this syntax if there is ID attribute. In this video, we will see how we can make shortcut whenever there is any class attribute inside the HTML element. So let's get started. So whenever we have this type of syntax, tag then attribute equal value, and in the HTML element, if there is class attribute, then we can replace the whole thing tag then attribute this thing with dot. Okay, but before going there, let me do one thing. Let me show you how we can actually use the general syntax for this attribute class. So I'm going to our tutorial page. Suppose we want to inspect this text box. Okay, so what we can do, we can right click here and then we can choose inspect, and the inspector window, that means the Chrome developer tool window, will be open shortly at the bottom of the screen. So here is the text box, right? If we inspect again, then it is showing that this is the HTML code, and here we are seeing that text area has a class attribute. It also has an ID attribute. For ID attribute, we also know, we checked how we can do this thing, but in this video we will see the class attribute. So how we can actually do this thing, we know the general syntax, right? We need this class name. Okay, I'm just copying it so that we can do it faster. So now click Ctrl F, and then it will Control F, and then it will find the search screen. Okay, so from here, just start typing. This is the text area, right? So we have to put the tag name first. So text area, and then we have to put the square bracket. Inside the square bracket, we have to put the class name, class attribute equal, and then the value of the class. We copy it. That's why I paste it here now. Okay, now it is easily highlighting this part, right? So it is actually pointing this part. So this is the common syntax which we use. Tag, in the tag name we use the tag name of that, of this HTML element. This is the HTML element text area, so we put it, and then after that we use the attribute and value. So in this way we can do this thing. Now let's come to our note sheet. So here we are seeing that if there is any class attribute, then we can replace with dot. Okay, so technically we can use like dot like this way, or input dot a, that means tag and dot a. So let's come here, and now let's check here. So I'm removing everything, and then I'm putting only that class name, super class, and then I'm putting a dot, and it is highlighting that element, right? So it's so easy, right? It is doing this thing. It is inspecting the whole element, and it is showing that this is the element. And if we find multiple this type of thing, we can also use the tag name also at the beginning. Like the tag name is here text area. So if we type text area, then it is also highlighting that element. Okay, so in this way we can actually inspect that element. But there is one problem. For example, if we try to inspect this element like this, okay, here we are seeing that input class, this one id equal to this thing. Okay, so here if we try to inspect this element like in this way, like dot class name, then what will happen? Let's try on one more thing. Like here the class name is class 1, class 2, class 3, three classes. So suppose I am typing class 1, and if you hit enter, then you will see there are multiple elements, 2 of 3, right? So it is not uniquely identified the particular thing, but our target is to choose where is that, right? So in this case, if you want to use this thing, we cannot do this thing. So we have to do in such a way that it can find unique method. Okay, so here class 1 is represented into 3 elements. Okay, so we are seeing that this one, and this one, these 3 text box, all these 3 text boxes have same class name, like class 1, then class 1, and then class 1. Okay, 3 element, but our target was to find out this one, suppose the last name. Okay, but it is not pointing clearly. It can point anywhere, right? So to make it unique, what we can do? We can do different ways. The first option is we can go like this way. If there is multiple classes, then we can use this syntax. We can join all the classes like dot class 1, dot class 2, class 3, like this way. Here suppose a b c 3 class name, we can do this way until we find an unique element. In this way we can join. So let's come here. So our target is to uniquely identify this one. So we can do one thing, we class 1, and then after that there is class 2. So we can put class 2. Okay, so technically it should easily identify, right? But here you will see another problem. Still it is showing that two elements is there. There are two total elements, this one and then there is another one, this one. Okay, so this class has 1 2 3 and this class 2. So these two elements are common for both of the classes, that's why it is showing 2. So here we are unable to identify this element. So for this case we have to use the main format of this thing, that means the main syntax. So what we can do, we can do in this way. We can put the tag name here. Tag name is input, right? So I'm typing input, then after that what we have to do, suppose we want to inspect this element. Okay, so we have to go there and then we have to type the class name, whole class name from here. Okay, from beginning to end. Okay, I'm telling you why, just one moment. So I'm typing class, this is the tag name, sorry, attribute name, and inside the attribute name we have to put the value of this thing. Now here, see, here it is easily identified that element like last name. But why? So here if you check clearly, see, this is a attribute name and then equal, we are pointing the value, right? We are printing the value. So when we are trying to use this format, we have to print the whole value. So here there are two classes, right? That's why we have to put whole thing with a space. Okay, if you want to point this one, then we have to print whole thing. That means we need to put the whole value of this class here, then it will easily identify. Okay, so our target is to uniquely identify. So this is a little bit tricky. So I prefer that if you use this method until you are expert, if you know everything, this method will work everywhere. That means the general syntax will work everywhere. So in this way you can easily identify this element. And for another thing, suppose here 1 2 3, this 3 text box has, all of them has class 1, right? Class 1, class 1, and class 1, right? And last two, last name and this one, this two has class 2, class 2, right? But here the last one, it has three classes, class 1, class 2, class 3, right? This 3. So for this case you can easily identify. If you put class name 3, then it will easily identify. You can use the shortcut for this case only. So for doing this, just write class 3. Okay, see here it is showing that element. So it is because it is uniquely identified. Here we are seeing 1 of 1. Okay, so in this way, for this case we can actually use the class name 3, I mean the shortcut dot class name. Okay, because this part is unique. But if this is a matching multiple times, at that time we have to go that way. And even if you don't find, then there is another approach. You can actually use other elements like id, name, or something. That will be easier. Okay, so that's all guys. So in this video we actually learned how we can actually use the class attribute if there is any CSS selector type of thing. And after that we also learned how we can make it short. So if there is multiple class name, then we can make it short like dot class name. But if there is more than one element, at that time we can use like tag name dot a. If we don't find only one element, then at that time we have to use this syntax: input then class equal to the whole class name. Okay, and we can also point some of the class element by pointing like this, by appending all the class name like class a dot class b class c. Okay, we can do this thing. So let me show you this thing. Suppose we want to point this class. Okay, so at that time we can do one thing, dot class 1 dot class 2 then class 3, and it will point to the same element right here. So that's the thing which I try to point everything, and this one. So that's all guys. Hopefully by watching this video you can easily create CSS selector for advanced locator, where we find this type of syntax with attribute class. And you can, if you wish, you can also use this shortcut if you prefer to do this thing. Okay, so that's all guys. Thank you for watching. If this video is useful and if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. So that's all guys for now. In the next video we will see more advanced topic of CSS selector. So see you on next video.